What's the worst way you found out someone you thought was interested in you isn't? She invited me to a party at her house. I was nervous, so I brought my best friend with me for support. She hooked up with him in front of me. The mythical reverse wingman maneuver. Quite difficult to pull off successfully. Was trying to find a girl I liked at a party to ask her on a date for the following day. I told her friend it was important that I find her. Her friend said she was upstairs and didn't mention what she was doing, probably assuming that what I had to say was some sort of emergency. I then proceeded to walk in on her banging one of my co-workers. Hooray. Invited a girl to play pool one night. During the whole game, we're teasing each other, playful touching and even some light hand holding afterwards. I go to kiss her outside and she recoils with a look on her face like someone just took a crap in her Cheerios. She gay friend-zoned you. I asked a girl to prom, and she showed up without doing her hair or makeup. I didn't even recognize her at first because she was wearing glasses instead of contacts, and I had never seen her wear glasses. She always wore contacts. It was like she was getting ready for bed and decided to go to prom. Instead, I felt she went out of her way to look bad. She forced a smile for our prom photo. It still gives me chills to look at. The smile looks like she is being held hostage and is afraid to escape, playing friendly with her kidnapper to buy time. Dude, you got to go to the prom with Daria. There was a girl I was extremely interested in a while back. I, along with many others including mutual friends and family, though that we would end up together. We spent a ton of time together and I honestly thought it was only a matter of time before we sealed the deal. I was pretty choked to learn that one day she told me that she was narrowing down her list of guys she wanted to go out with, and I wasn't on it. Dang. After college I dated a woman for 3 years. At the end she told me that she didn't really love me, but didn't want to be alone for the rest of her life, so would I please marry her and we could be friends. That's when I broke up with her. Also, took summer classes in college with a girl that I had a huge crush on, and her best friend, a guy, was also taking the class and kept telling me that she liked me. I kept trying harder and harder and was getting rebuffed in harsher ways as time went on. Turns out he liked her and was messing with me, but because of him I lost her as a friend, too. Sucks, but look on the bright side. At least you're not the girl's best guy friend, who is heavily entrenched in her friend zone forever. He's going to try his best to get with her and waste years of the prime time of his life being alone and sad. Meanwhile, you get rejected. You move on to greener pastures. Through a handwritten note delivered by her friend after asking her to a dance. I hate you. You like me. Why don't you just leave me be? With a flick in the head and a knee to the dong, why don't you go screw a stick? I still have the letter in a box of high school memories. I think the worst part of this is that a note appears to be written to the tune of I love you, you love me from Barney. Am I the only one who walks around assuming people just aren't that into me and then years later find out they are into me? Because that's far worse, I think. I actually asked out this girl I was interested in, and we were dating for a couple weeks. She finally told me she thought we were going too fast and wanted to take a break because she didn't really want a boyfriend right now due to the fact that she had just gotten out of a 6-year relationship. I waited a long time to ask this girl out. A week later her Facebook status had changed to in a relationship. We haven't spoken since. I was visiting LA for a bit and I met this girl who I really seemed to hit it off with. We flirted and had the longer than usual hugs and all that. When I was leaving she texted me when I was at the airport, and for the next few days when I got back to my home state, she always texted first. I finally got the nerve to tell her I like her, not asking for a relationship or anything. She then proceeds to tell me how she always ends up hurting the guy she's with. I tell her that I'm a grown man and can handle myself. She then tells me that she really wasn't into me but that she was flirting with me to get attention because she really liked all the attention I was giving her. Whoa, that's extremely selfish and shallow. I've had similar experiences to OP on multiple occasions. However, this one took me by surprise. When we went on our first date and she says, "So, what did you get me?" Me. Get you for what? If it's your birthday or something. You never told me. Her. No. I mean, what kind of gift did you get me for our date? Every guy I go out with buys me a gift. So where's my jewelry? Me. I barely know you. Why would I buy you jewelry? That's just not gonna happen. Her. Flipping the crap out, calling me an F, etc. Me. Glad I didn't pick her up. Took off. We hadn't even ordered our food yet. Ain't that summer shit. You didn't just dodge a bullet, you dodged a goddamn mortar there. Cripes. I was spending a lot of time with a friend in university and thought she was interested in me. We went to a concert and she introduced me to a bunch of her friends I didn't know. Next time I saw her she mentioned that one of them had later asked about me, assuming I was her boyfriend. She laughed, recalling to me about how she'd told her friend that no, we totally weren't interested in each other and were just friends. Dude, she probably likes you and was testing your reaction to the idea of you guys dating. Freshman year of college, 5 in the morning. I was just browsing the internet when suddenly this guy who lives on the floor below me starts messaging me. We start to chat daily and often have eye-opening conversations. I feel like he knows me. If I'm not online at my usual time, he'll often send me messages asking me where I am. Soon after, we started hanging out routinely with just the two of us. We enjoyed each other's company. I was perfectly content just watching him play games on his computer. He'd offer to lend me his jacket when I was cold and when my contacts were dry, he helped me put in eye drops. We spent a day together at a museum. He told me that I was important to him. Even though we never held hands, I was hopeful that it would develop into something more. I poured all my feelings out to a close friend and she told me that it would happen. Fast forward to my birthday and he messages me online, saying, I don't think we can be friends anymore. A few days later, he starts dating my close friend. I found out that he was never interested in me. TLDR. This guy led me on in order to get close to my friend. She encouraged it. I'd blame it on the Spice Girls. There was a new girl that started where I work and we flirted to the point where one of the managers joked that it's not a good idea to date co-workers, but I didn't care. So one night when we're closing she invited me over to her place, but when I called to let her know I was on my way she asked if I was hungry, stating her boyfriend is always hungry and she likes to cook for him. Now I'm a nice guy so I respect other guys and don't try to be an butthole and steal their girlfriends, so that immediately made me put on the brakes. I ended up going anyway to see if I had a chance, but it went nowhere. Fast forward a couple weeks and she had suggested that I date a roommate, so she set up a double date scenario where I could meet her roommate. Before we even got to the date I found out from a classmate and co-worker that she had asked him to be her date for the double date and that she had broken up with her boyfriend. Yet again I went on the date and was not into her roommate at all, and her date my classmate seemed completely uninterested in her. I ended up flirting with my initial interest more than her roommate and once again it went nowhere. We still flirt, or so it seems, but I've pretty much given up, especially since I'm moving in a couple weeks and she's always dating other guys. And she's also a Redditor, so I would find it absolutely hilarious if she found out how I fell through this medium. I'm talking about you, Ashley. Moving in a couple of weeks and you post this crap on Reddit hoping she sees it. Grow some stones. Nothing to lose. Now go and smash her back doors in. I'm going to win this. Girl I meet in high school. 2 years my junior. We hit it off. Same after school activities. I end up also driving her home on occasion, with some near miss kisses, and work up to coming over to tutor her in math. I'm 99% positive she has feelings for me. A few years down the road, we've been Facebook friends for a while. I happen to be visiting a friend out by where she's going to college, so I get in touch and we make plans to catch up over coffee. I bring up how we used to hang out in her bedroom, drive around together, flirt, and she doesn't remember anything. See, I was tutoring her in math because she has epilepsy and tends to forget things when she has seizures. Over the course of the last few years, she'd lost any memories of the time we were together. I can now never confirm whatever it was we had. I was hanging out with this girl for about 3 weeks. We got close and I was pursuing her. We chilled during and after school, and I went to her house a few late nights to watch a movie and just hang out. We met on more than one occasion in that time. One day during my biology class that she was in, I noticed her getting real close to this guy she sat next to, playing real flirty and touching, but I didn't think anything of it. That weekend I run into her at a mutual friend's party. She was real close to me the whole time, holding my arm and whatnot. As it gets late, 2 of the guys that lived in the apartment decided to go to sleep. 30 minutes go by of doing nothing really, and I think I might leave. As I'm saying my goodbyes, the girl decides to leave with me, but she wants to say bye to those guys that passed out earlier. So I wait for her. 10 minutes go by. 20 minutes go by. Finally I'm tired and ready to leave, so I walk outside. I'm lighting up my cigarette when my buddy cracks open the door and taps me on the shoulder with this terrible smirk on his face. He leads me to the bedroom door and I can hear obvious moaning and slurping sounds. I didn't even want to open the door. I left, and later found out that she banged the 2 dudes at the same time for over an hour. Never spoke to her again. High school me. Hey, wanna go to that dance on Saturday with me? Chick I'd been hanging out with a lot at the time. I don't really like you like that, but my far less attractive interesting friend really likes you. You should take her. Go to love the you should take my roommate friend out from the girl you are interested in. I was 15 and I had a crush on a guy in English class. All year, we would talk a lot, but nothing happened. One day we ran into each other in the library and continued our classroom conversation for hours. I was in heaven. We had been sitting outside for a bit when he motioned for me to stand up with him. His hand outstretched. I stood up and took it, and we started walking hand in hand. He laughed and said, "I was just helping you up. I didn't want to hold hands. I was embarrassed." He continued, "Aren't you a lesbian anyway?" I was more embarrassed, and not a lesbian. It was a very critical time for me in the 3rd of the grades. I was trying to get with this fellow and we start making fishy faces. When I tried to do the fishy face though, it made a kiss sound. Immediately he becomes appalled by the near attempt at his life. He yells out, "You you are gross," then ran away. Forever a fish. And now I'm making fish faces. During my first job right out of college, I had an intern over during the summer. She was just gorgeous, articulate, and intelligent. Did I mention she was gorgeous? Anyway, summer was really slow at the office. Desks were empty, everything was quiet during the day, and we were basically the only ones there. It was just me and her. We'd sit around all day laughing, chatting, playing games. My productivity was basically zero. I still don't know what the heck I did all day. The touch barrier was definitely broken. There was constant touching, resting her head on my shoulder. She was leaning against me, touching my hands. She was constantly looking at me, too, all the time, texting me after work. I had a friend come by one day who assured me I wasn't imagining things and basically forced me to make a move on her before he did. Since she hadn't even dropped the slightest hint of a boyfriend, I thought, what the heck, maybe I should try something. So I wait until the last day of her internship. There's a great mood. We're all goofy. I'd brought her a little gift for her last day. So, I'm all ready to ask her out when we get off work in an hour or so, when my HR manager calls to check up on things with the intern. Being a cool guy, we talk about the hot little intern and he's saying, "Yeah, I knew you'd like her. Total babe." We both chuckle, and just as I'm about to hang up the phone, he goes, "Too bad she's dating major celebrity." Wait, what the frick? TLDR. Just before asking a hot intern out, I found out she was dating a celebrity. I hope you still asked her out. Given only the details you've provided, it sounds like your HR manager was screwing with you. I hope you didn't just take his word for it and never asked her. I hope to God you asked her. I had a major middle school crush on a girl, but I always kept quiet about it. I was rather shy and introverted at that age. Even revealing who my crush was to friends was something I avoided doing. One day, a friend kept pestering me with, "Who do you like? Come on, just tell me who it is that you like." I finally gave and told him who it was. Flash forward a couple of days later. I open my locker and to my surprise find a note has been slipped in there. I opened it up and to my complete surprise find that it was from her. I was so excited that my little body was trembling. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. The note detailed that she had heard I liked her and wanted me to know that she liked me back but was too shy to approach me about it. The note stated that I should approach her at the basketball court during after lunch recess and ask her out. She would say yes. Now, I had been harboring feelings for this girl for over 2 years. She occupied all of my thoughts, my fantasies, my dreams of having a girlfriend. But I was cripplingly shy in the presence of girls, so I never did a goddamn thing about it. But now I had a reason to muster up the courage. I saw her at the court shooting hoops. She was all by herself just practicing free throws. It was like there were no other people on the court that day, as I used every ounce of energy I had just to walk up to her. I approached her and my voice quivered as I forced out a timid and pathetic, "Will you go out with me?" She laughed. She freaking laughed and said number. I was destroyed. All I could do was turn right around and walk away from the basketball court as quickly as I could. As I left the entryway to the court, my friend approached me like a laughing hyena at my folly. He revealed to me that the note had been a forgery, an elaborate hoax to troll me and my timid emotions. I was too beaten to even be mad. I spent the rest of the school year in a sad state of shock, disbelief and embarrassment. You should have punched your friend in the balls. What an butthole. I met a guy at some student function my first month of law school. He walked me home and we exchanged numbers. I invited him to a party with some of my friends. At the party, we hung out in the kitchen for several hours talking and flirting and teasing. We kissed in a drinking game and he gave me 3 or 4 lingering hugs when he left. Then he stopped returning my texts and my friends ran into him at cost plus with his girlfriend. Okay. Guy was in, but less trouble for you. This was last month. I made a rage comic about it, but I'll just tell you what happened. I was at a street fair when I saw a cute girl. This is word for word what happened. Me. Hi, I'm Mike. Her. Hi, do you want a kiss? Me. Sure. Kissing happens. I walk away, completely dumbfounded. My friend. Dude, you should get her number. Me. Oh yeah, hang on. To her. So, can I buy you a drink or something? Her. No, I only kissed you so you would leave me alone. This was a month ago and I am still in complete shock. I can name at least 5 things wrong with that sentence. And you know what? I will. Why would you kiss someone to get them away from you? Why would she want me to leave her alone anyway? I only said 3 words to her before she offered her lips. I'm a nice, handsome boy. I was being polite. In those 3 words, she obviously liked me enough to kiss me. Why couldn't she just ask me to leave her alone? You kiss a stranger but won't let them buy you a drink or take you out? What the fricking frick was that? I can tell you the opposite. There was this girl I was convinced hated me. She did her best to make me feel hated at every opportunity, glaring at me from across the room all the time, telling me off for every little thing. After a particular bad day of putting up with her, she came and sat next to me on the bus home. I saw this as a deliberate trolling. Her head was in the way of me trying to talk to my friends across the aisle, and her stereotypically loud girly conversations with friends sat behind drowned out what we were trying to say. When it came to my stop, I picked up my bag and noticed it felt pretty heavy. As I put it onto my back, I accidentally on purpose smacked her across the head with it. Heard a yelp but carried on walking off the bus as if I hadn't noticed, grinning on the inside. The next day I was approached by all her friends, asking if that's how I treat every girl who fancies me. Misreading women. This is why I'm forever alone. I was hardcore crushing on a girl way too late in my adulthood. She knew I was interested. I was too blind to see she wasn't. There was lots of phone tag and no talking. Anyway, she invited me to a Memorial Day barbecue which I enthusiastically attended. There was a dude there I'd never seen. She was all over him the entire party. They ended up breaking away from the party to bang. That was very obvious to everyone there that day. They came back out to the party area, backyard, about 40 minutes later, and the guy, that little crap, was whooping and raising the roof. My heart was in my stomach and I felt ill. I'd say she did it to humiliate me, but that would mean she actually cared about my feelings. Had a similar experience. Kind of traumatizing really. Have an upvote bro. I learned to not pretend to be friends with a chick you are interested in. If you like them then say it, and if they reject you, stay away. I had the hots for this girl in middle school. I was a tad shy and was too nervous to approach her. Well, one day, she passed me a note. I believe it said, Hi, who are you going out with? Well, go. I was so excited I didn't really think about what she wrote. I realize well, go doesn't mean much, but I took it as we'll go out. In other words, I thought the question was a formality and she was asking me out. Come to find out she was just asking, and the well go meant well, gotta go. The best part is that when I saw her in the hall, I just said yes, as in, yes, I will go out with you. She suddenly had a confused look on her face and walked away. Then the typical middle school embarrassment commenced. It's difficult to communicate with people who speak gibberish. For the longest time I couldn't figure out why all of the dodgeballs at my high school had the word written on them in huge letters. It never really bothered me, nor did I think about it for more than about a second before I became much more interested in chucking the ball at somebody's head. One day, late senior year or perhaps after I'd graduated, it somehow came up in conversation and I was finally enlightened. Apparently a girl asked a guy to our winter formal, girls ask guys. The guy asked her to meet him in the gym after school for him to present his answer. After school she waited in the middle of the gym and when he showed up he started pelting her with dodgeballs, all with no written in huge letters on them. TL. DR. Girl asks guy to dance. Guy replies by writing no on a bunch of dodgeballs and pelting her with them. That's, like, 90s teen movie caliber horrible. When I was 19, I had been hanging out with this girl who was always over at my neighbor's place. She was so cute. I thought she liked me. She was always really flirty. One night, we all walk over to some house party. Come back and she comes in my apartment. I go to the bathroom, freshen up, come back out and she's in my roommate's room, making out with him. Side story, she got really fat and married a really fat dude and had fat babies. Fatness is the best revenge. This story isn't about me, but I did experience it firsthand. It happened in my junior English class in high school. It was, quite possibly, the most intensely awkward situation I've ever been in. A friend of mine, not close friend, but friend, let's say acquaintance, we'll call him Shane. Shane had decided he liked this girl, let's call her Julie. Julie of course was aware that Shane existed, but Shane, being one of us, well maybe a bit more off the deep end than most of us. I'm going to go with a couple steps up from bad crap crazy. Like I said, Shane had decided that he liked Julie. Julie, of course, was none the wiser, since he had formulated all of this up in his head in only that most spectacular way that all virgin teenage males can. Shane decided that he was going to ask Julie out on Valentine's Day, in class, in the beginning of class, in front of everyone, by leaving a rose on her desk, and then reading a list entitled 63 Reasons You Should Go Out With Me on Valentine's Day. One of those reasons was, because Hitler created the Autobahn and still kills people today. Did I mention that Julie sat right in front of Shane? She did, and after she said no to, quite possibly the most stupidly gallant failure ever created by man since he first picked up a stick and beat himself with it, she got to sit there for the entire class period while he sat behind her, red-faced and trying to figure out how it could have gone better. Oh, and since I'm red-eating from bed this lazy afternoon, I just recounted that entire story butt naked. Hitler created the Autobahn and still kills people to this day. That crap is gold. When I was in university I met this guy one night on campus and we chatted, exchanged numbers. A few days later he calls me and we meet up to play pool with his friends. Everything seems good. We arranged to meet at his friend's place a few days later. I have the address but not the apartment number or buzz code. I have his number but not his friend's. I get to this apartment building, in a sketchy part of town, after dark, alone. All 5 feet 3 inches of me. I call this guy and no answer. I keep calling, more and more as I'm starting to freak out. Finally this girl answers and tells me to stop calling her boyfriend. Turns out he was trying to make her jealous, but then chickened out so tells her that I'm basically stalking him. I give her the short version of your boyfriend set up this date and let some random girl wander aimlessly alone in a bad neighborhood. She starts screaming at him and makes him get on the phone and apologize to me. He figured I would just go for his friend when he didn't show, but forgot that I didn't have any way to contact the friend when I showed up. All I can hope is that butthole got dumped that night. Like many people on Reddit, I'm a pretty geeky guy. Girls barely spoke to me in high school and never had a girlfriend. Shortly after graduating, while working a summer job, a new girl was hired at work. She was very cute and unlike all girls that I had met before. She was always nice to me and seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say. We could talk for hours and she would even stay after her shift sometimes just to talk. She only stayed for 6 months then moved away. I never asked her out. I was pretty devastated when she left. Fast forward 2 years later, I'm working at the same place one night when she shows up. I quickly start panicking. I could not let her go this time. She comes, talks to me and asks me what I'm doing that night. I tell her that I had plans to go play poker with some friends at a local bar. She then tells me that she loves poker, so I invited her and she accepted. We had an awesome night and we exchanged phone numbers, but being forever alone I did not try to kiss her. 2 days later, I'm hanging out with my best friend when she texts me that she's bored. I get very anxious but my friend tells me it's gonna be alright, so we go pick her up and go to a bar. We spend another awesome night and when heading back home we stop at a gas station. I go to take a pee and when I come back, I see her kissing my best friend. The worst thing about this story is that this girl is now my BFF. I am still deeply in love with her. I see her many times per week and have to endure all the dumbasses she sleeps with. And while I know this relationship is destroying myself, I can't help it. Every minute spent with her makes me more happy than anything in the world. I'm a spineless idiot. Tell her how you feel. Sure, she'll probably reject you at first, but a few weeks later she'll come back to you and tell you how she truly feels. Source: watching chick flicks. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.